Now let's go to Singapore. Alright, let's go to Marina Bay Street Circuit for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Welcome then to Marina Bay in a tough, bumpy street circuit that will test these drivers to their absolute limit. So sit back and enjoy the action here at the Singapore Grand Prix. We have a high risk of a safety car here today as the abundance of tight corners mixed with these wet conditions could put a few cars off into the barriers.
There will be three DRS turns, but there's no DRS.
3.1 mile lap.
And there are only 23 turns here at Singapore.
It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today.
You know, like real Formula chose to do formation lap behind the safety car.
Sailing isn't too far from the truth. Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Or as a driver, there are three big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position.
Valtteri Bottas starts on pole with Lewis Hamilton on the front row, P1, P2 for Mercedes.
We have Perez, Verstappen,
Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen, P3, P4 for Red Bull. Ocon Lastron with Tsunoda, Leclerc.
Norris and Sebastian
Lando Norris with Sebastian Vettel.
Gasly,
Fernando Alonso, Pierre Gasly.
and
We got Ricardo Alonso with Carlos Sainz. Mick Schumacher with Nicholas Latifi. With Nikita Mazepin. With Antonio Giovinazzi. With George Russell and Kimi Räikkönen back at the grid.
It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Sebastian Vettel now, we got Sebastian Vettel, that's the 2019 Singapore Grand Prix winner, and it's like the setup at Singapore is if it's going to be, but originally it's going to be wet, so but I just go with dry this time. So here we go. We're for the lights. Here come the lights, and we're racing here at Singapore. Now look at the free, and we got 3 wide into the turn 1. And with Valtteri Bottas out in front, Verstappen has to drop. It's like Verstappen has to drop back. We got Verstappen, Johnny begins to drop back, and here comes Sergio. He's in the DRS range too. Here we come. It's not like Bottas, but I have to back all the way. Bottas stays ahead of us. But you gotta keep trying. This is a nice track at Singapore. Let's see now. Alright. Coming through the Henderson Bridge into the little braking zone. But we're still coming up on Valtteri Bottas, bound for the lead. But the track is already wet right now. Oh, so close to the tire barrier wall. I passed through the second chicane where Valtteri Bottas crashed at the second chicane. But it's Valtteri Bottas out in front. Here comes Sergio. And he said 2-1-1, fast lap of the Grand Prix. Here in Singapore. First chicanes. we come on, and we're going to tap into the back of Valtteri Bottas. Bottas stays out in front. Let's go. Bottas trying to pull away from us. Fastest through the first sector than anybody. Oh, a little bit of contact. It's going to be, and it's going to be the first flashback of. All right, one flashback. Fastest through the first sector. Not giving up. Bottas trying to protect the inside. We go to the inside. On Valtteri Bottas, a little bit of tap into the wall, but we got him into P1. Now we're up into P1. Very nice move. Almost creating a little bit of contact into the tire barrier wall. Almost contact into the barriers. Here we go through the Hanson Bridge now. Bottas is still into the DRS range. But Bottas is still right behind us. Personal best in sector 2, but here comes Valtteri, keeping Perez out of the DRS range. Here we go now into the first chicane. And now into the second chicane, going under the grandstands. Now into the third bus off chicanes, and now we go under the freeway. But Bottas is still in the DRS range, and now into turn 22 into turn 23. And now another fast lap of the Grand Prix, 1:58.8. And so the final lap of the Singapore Grand Prix, no DRS on lap 3 due to the wet track conditions. Because it's due to the wet track conditions, and we finally keep our teammate out of the DRS range. As we keep my, all right, nice. We keep my teammate out of the DRS range. And now fastest through the first sector. .9 the gap to Valtteri Bottas behind P2. And we just went purple through the first sector. Faster through the first sector than anybody. Here we go through the Hanson Bridge. Now into the main curves. And we go fastest again, sector 2 than anybody. The first chicane now into the first bus stop chicane. Now into the second bus stop chicanes, we go under the grandstands. And now into the towards the third bus stop chicane. Here we go into turn 22, the final turn, turn 23. We'll see the checkered flag and win the Singapore Grand Prix. Fireworks flying up in the sky.
Fantastic. You've won the Grand Prix.
And the driver then go to Yuki Tsunoda. Wow, Yuki Tsunoda will be our driver of the day.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows.
All right, Yuki Tsunoda, driver of the day.
Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
I can see on the podium. Time for the champagne. Here we go. No, Valtteri. No, it's your teammate. No. Ah!
It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Some amazing talents out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Yuki Tsunoda gets my vote today.
Ah, good choice,
Well, that's
Yuki.
an end to another fantastic weekend of
choice.
racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Alright, we win Lewis Hamilton wins, which is me. Win the Singapore Grand Prix with 5 minutes and 57 seconds with DHL fast lap of the race 1:56.9 with Valtteri Bottas. Comes home in second place, P1, P2 finish for Mercedes as Sergio Perez will round up the podium. Sergio Perez will round up the podium with Yuki Tsunoda in fourth. With Lance Stroll in fifth, Max Verstappen comes home in sixth with Lando Norris seventh, Charles Leclerc eighth, Esteban Ocon ninth, and Sebastian Vettel, the 2019 Singapore Grand Prix winner, rounds up the top 10 for the four-time Formula 1 World Champion, Fernando Alonso in 11th. So the two-time Formula 1 World Champion, Carlos Sainz in 12th with Pierre Gasly 13th, Mick Schumacher 14th with Antonio Giovinazzi 15th, Daniel Ricciardo 16th with Nicholas Latifi 17th. Nikita Mazepin 18th, George Russell 19th, and Kimi Räikkönen finishes in 20th in last place. Now the standings have in the lead. Honda lead with 401 point lead over Sergio Perez as Lance Stroll moves up into 6th. And Lando Norris now down into 7th. And now Gasly down into 8th. Now the constructors standings as Mercedes continue on top 629 over Red Bull. Aston Martin moved up into 5th. Ferrari down into 6th with 90 points back. And Airplane down into 7th. Alright, that's the Singapore Grand Prix. Next time by, we're off to Suzuka Circuit for the Japanese Grand Prix. And we'll see you there at Suzuka.